What if I told you that the same gland stealing your sleep, interrupting your nights, and quietly chipping away at your confidence could begin shrinking back to normal in just 72 hours, without a single pill, without surgery, without side effects? Most men are never told that truth. They're told to accept their fate, to take another prescription, to make peace with the slow surrender of their dignity. But not here, not today. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, a urologist and men's health specialist who has spent over 3 decades walking alongside fathers, husbands, and grandfathers through the silent battle of prostate enlargement. I've seen the exhaustion in their eyes, the frustration in their voices, and I've also seen the moment that everything changes when hope returns, when the body begins to heal naturally. Today, I'm not here to sell you another pill. I'm here to hand you back control. It's because the solution isn't chemical, it's biological. It's something your body already knows how to do, and in this very episode, I'm going to show you how to unlock that power. Before we dive in, do one thing for yourself. Hit that like button. Think of it not as a click, but as a small declaration that you still believe in your body's ability to heal. When you press that button, may your nights grow quieter. May your mornings come with real energy again. And may your confidence return steady and unshakable. While you're at it, subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell icon so you never miss another conversation that could change the next decade of your life. Every week, I share insights built on real science and real patient stories, designed for men over 60 who refuse to give up their vitality. And I want to hear from you. If what I'm saying resonates, type 1 in the comments. If you're skeptical, type 0. Either way, your voice matters here. This isn't just a channel, it's a community of men reclaiming their strength one truth at a time. Now let's begin. Because once you understand what's really happening inside your body, everything else starts to make sense. For most men, the struggle doesn't begin with a dramatic symptom. It creeps in quietly. One night you wake up once to use the bathroom, then twice, then 3 times. You tell yourself it's just age. You drink less water, avoid coffee late, try every trick you've heard, but the pattern keeps repeating. And before you know it, the night isn't a place of rest anymore. It's a cycle of waking, waiting, and wondering what's happening to your body. I've listened to hundreds of men describe that same battle. One patient, James, 68, told me he hadn't slept more than 2 hours straight in years. He said, "Doc, I don't feel old, I just feel trapped." And that word stuck with me, trapped, because that's exactly what prostate issues do. They confine you in the smallest, cruelest ways. It starts at night, but it doesn't stay there. The fatigue follows you into the day. You're irritable at breakfast, distracted during conversations, drifting through your afternoons like a man half present. You plan your outings around bathrooms, never too far from one, never too confident you'll make it in time. Long drives, golf games, church gatherings, even dinner with friends, all reshaped by that constant background worry. Where's the nearest restroom? Then there's the part most men don't talk about, the quiet humiliation, the loss of control that chips away at your sense of manhood. You've spent a lifetime being dependable, capable, the one others could count on, and now your own body feels unreliable. Some men withdraw from intimacy not because they've stopped caring, but because they feel embarrassed or afraid of what might happen. That kind of shame doesn't show up on a medical chart, but it can hollow out a man's spirit faster than any disease. I've seen men stare at the floor in my office saying, "I just want one good night of sleep." Oh, they are not asking for miracles, they're asking for peace. And I tell them what I'll tell you now: your body isn't betraying you, it's signaling for help. That urge at 3 a.m., that's not punishment, it's communication. It's your prostate telling you something deeper is wrong, an imbalance, an inflammation, a circulation issue your system can't fix alone. It's the body's way of saying, pay attention before it's too late. But the tragedy is that most men never hear that message clearly. They dismiss it, medicate it, or hide it. They accept that this is simply what aging looks like. But it's not. Aging doesn't mean surrender. It means adaptation. That's why I call it the silent struggle. Because while millions of men over 60 are facing this every night, very few are talking about it. They feel alone, ashamed, and tired of pretending that constant exhaustion is just part of growing older. You don't have to pretend anymore. You're not the only one staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., counting the hours until dawn. You're not the only one who misses the freedom of sleeping through the night or the confidence that used to come so easily. And here's the truth I need you to hold on to, because it changes everything that comes next. Your symptoms aren't random. They're not fate. They're part of a system that can still be corrected. Once you understand why your prostate is swelling, the path to freedom becomes clear. That's the next step in this journey, and once you see the root cause, you'll never look at just getting older the same way again. One of the most common questions I hear from men in their 60s and 70s is, Dr. Prescott, why now? Why is this happening after all these years? And I always tell them, because your body never does anything without a reason. The swelling of your prostate isn't random. It's the result of decades of small, invisible shifts that finally reach a breaking point. Let's strip away the mystery. Your prostate is a small gland, about the size of a walnut when you're young, sitting just below the bladder, wrapped around the urethra like a ring. For most of your life, it works quietly, producing fluid that helps keep the reproductive system healthy. You don't think about it, you don't feel it, you don't even know it's there. But as time moves on, three powerful forces start reshaping that little gland: hormones, inflammation, and circulation. Each one alone would cause discomfort. Together, they create the perfect storm. First, hormones. When you were 30, testosterone kept your prostate stable, like a balanced scale. But as you age, testosterone slowly drops while a stronger version of it, called dihydrotestosterone or DHT, starts to rise inside the prostate. Think of DHT like fertilizer poured onto a plant that doesn't need it. It forces the tissue to grow thicker, denser, and more inflamed. That's why so many men suddenly feel pressure or urgency. They're living with an overworked gland that's squeezing the urethra tighter every year. Then comes inflammation, the quiet saboteur. Over decades, your diet, stress, toxins, and even poor sleep can trigger chronic low-grade inflammation. You don't see it, but it's there, swelling tissues, irritating nerves, and making the prostate tender and reactive. Imagine a hallway that's already narrow, and now someone starts stacking boxes along the walls. That's what inflammation does to your urinary passage. It turns a manageable space into a bottleneck. And then there's circulation, the part hardly anyone talks about. Healthy blood flow brings oxygen and nutrients to every organ, allowing them to repair themselves. But with age and inactivity, hours spent sitting at a desk, in a car, or on the couch, circulation to the pelvic area slows down. The prostate becomes like a pond with no fresh water coming in, stagnant, toxic, and overgrown. I can't tell you how many men walk into my clinic surprised by how simple this sounds. They'll say, "So you're telling me my prostate got big because my blood got lazy?" And I nod, because that's the truth. Your body is built to heal through motion and balance. When the motion stops, imbalance takes over. Now here's where most doctors stop. They diagnose, prescribe, and send you home with a bottle of pills that might relax the muscles around the prostate or chemically shrink the gland. But they rarely tell you what caused the problem in the first place. And because they don't fix the why, the symptoms always return. I've seen this story play out too many times. A man finally gets a bit of relief from his medication, but soon comes back saying he feels weaker, dizzier, even less himself. The pills solved one problem but created three new ones. That's not health, that's dependency dressed up as treatment. The truth is, your prostate isn't your enemy, it's your messenger. It's trying to tell you something. When it enlarges, it's responding to signals of imbalance: too much DHT, too little blood flow, too much inflammation. And if you can shift those signals, you can shrink the problem. You don't have to fight your body, you just have to support it. Once you give your system the movement, the circulation, and the hormonal balance it's been craving, healing begins naturally. That's why in the next part we won't talk about more pills or procedures. We'll talk about the one powerful daily habit that resets these signals, restoring balance, shrinking inflammation, and giving you back the freedom to live like yourself again. After decades of working with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, I can tell you something with absolute certainty. The most powerful remedy for an enlarged prostate isn't found in a pill bottle. It's not an expensive supplement or a fancy device. It's not in the hands of a surgeon or hidden inside a commercial on late-night TV. It's a habit. A simple, natural, almost laughably ordinary daily act that most men overlook. That habit is movement, specifically intentional walking combined with gentle pelvic exercises that restore circulation and awaken the body's ability to heal itself. Now I know what you might be thinking. Dr. Prescott, I already move around. I'm not sitting in a chair all day. But there's a world of difference between casual motion and targeted restorative movement. When you walk briskly for 20 to 30 minutes, something remarkable happens beneath the surface. Your heart sends oxygen-rich blood rushing through your lower body, especially to the pelvic region where your prostate sits like a hub of silent tension. And here's the secret: poor circulation is one of the silent culprits behind prostate swelling. Without steady blood flow, the gland becomes stagnant, starved of oxygen, overloaded with waste. That's when inflammation thrives. But when you restore that flow, it's like opening a dam, the pressure eases, the tissues calm, healing begins. I've seen it firsthand. A man in his late 70s, Harold, came to me desperate after years of sleepless nights. He told me, "I wake up 7 times a night, doc. I'm losing my mind." We started simple, daily walks, 15 minutes at first, building to 30. A week later, he returned and said, "I only woke up twice last night. I don't believe it." His face had color again. His eyes had life. His body just needed the invitation to do what it was built to do: heal. Then come the pelvic exercises, often called Kegel movements. These are small but mighty. You tighten and release the same muscles you'd use to stop urination midstream. That contraction draws blood into the pelvis, strengthens the foundation that supports your bladder, and gives you greater control, both in urination and, yes, in intimacy. Gentle stretching adds even more value. Opening the hips, relaxing the lower back, rotating the pelvis, all these small moves relieve tension and promote steady blood flow. When you combine walking, stretching, and pelvic control, you're essentially sending your prostate the exact message it's been waiting for. You can relax now, you're safe, you can shrink back to normal. And the beauty of this habit: no side effects, no chemical trade-offs, no fear of losing your energy or performance. The only result is freedom, freedom to sleep, to travel, to laugh again without planning your next bathroom stop. The reason most men never hear about this is because no company profits from it. There's no ad campaign for walk 30 minutes a day, no glossy brochure for breathing deeply and stretching your hips. But I'll tell you what those corporations can't say: your body is far more intelligent than any pill. You just have to work with it, not against it. It's never too late. I've seen 80-year-old men find more vitality in 2 weeks of walking than in 5 years of medication. It doesn't matter how long you've suffered or how many doctors have told you this is just age. Age is not a disease. Inactivity is. This simple habit isn't about exercise, it's about restoration. It's about returning to the rhythm your body once knew instinctively. And here's where it gets even better: this habit doesn't just match what medication does, it surpasses it. Because while pills try to force your body to behave, movement teaches it to heal. In the next part, I'll show you why this habit works better than pills. Not just in theory, but in the real, measurable ways that matter: your energy, your sleep, your confidence, your manhood. Over the years, I've met countless men who walked into my office clutching a small orange bottle, hoping it was the key to peace. They'd been told this pill would fix everything, help them urinate more easily, sleep better, feel normal again, and at first many did feel a slight relief. The pressure eased, the stream was stronger, the nights felt a little less restless. But then the side effects crept in like thieves in the dark. Dizziness, fatigue, that strange mental fog that makes you feel disconnected from yourself. And the one that cuts the deepest, loss of desire, loss of performance, loss of the quiet confidence that makes a man feel alive. It's heartbreaking to watch, because what those pills really do is trick your body into obedience. They force the muscles to relax or the hormones to shift temporarily without addressing why your prostate was struggling in the first place. They're like putting a piece of duct tape over a leak. It looks fixed until the pressure builds again. The daily movement habit we just discussed, walking, stretching, pelvic exercises, works differently. It doesn't cover up the problem. It rewrites the script entirely. When you walk, you're not just moving your legs. You're creating circulation that feeds your prostate fresh oxygen and removes the toxic buildup that keeps it swollen. When you do Kegel exercises, you're training your pelvic muscles to support your bladder and prostate more effectively, reducing tension and strain. When you stretch, you're increasing mobility and blood flow to the area that has been quietly tightening for decades. All of this resets the natural balance your prostate has been begging for. No chemicals, no dependency, just the body learning to function as it was designed to. And here's what makes it more powerful than any medication: it's permanent. Pills work for as long as you take them. Miss a dose and the symptoms come back. But habits build. Every walk compounds, every stretch strengthens, every small act of consistency rewires your system toward healing. I often tell my patients this: medication gives you convenience, movement gives you freedom. Freedom is what every man truly wants, not just to urinate normally, but to live without fear, to feel in control again. Pills can never give you that. They offer comfort, not confidence. One of my patients, Robert, age 72, once said to me, "Doc, I took those pills for 3 years. They helped a bit, but I felt weaker every month. Then I started walking every morning like you said, and for the first time, I feel like I'm steering the ship again." That right there, that sense of agency, is what heals far more than any prescription ever could, because once a man starts to feel in control of his own body again, something inside him reignites. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a place for medication in medicine, but it should be the bridge, not the destination. Too many men are told to stay on that bridge forever. I want you to walk off it, literally and figuratively. So if you remember nothing else from this episode, remember this: you cannot medicate your way back to manhood. You can only move your way there. And in the next part, I want to shift our focus, not just to biology, but to something deeper: the emotional side of this journey. The quiet heartbreaks that most men never talk about, and the incredible relief that comes when they finally reclaim their sense of self. Because healing your prostate isn't just physical, it's profoundly human. When I look back on my years as a physician, the moments that stay with me aren't the lab numbers or test results. They are the faces of the men who have sat across from me, carrying more than physical pain. They came in for their prostate, but what they really brought into that room was fear, shame, and exhaustion. I remember one man vividly. His name was Frank, 71 years old, a retired Navy mechanic. He sat in my office, his shoulders heavy, and said quietly, "Dr. Prescott, I feel like I'm disappearing." His nights were restless, his energy gone, and intimacy with his wife had become awkward, filled with hesitation instead of warmth. "She doesn't say anything," he said, "but I can tell she misses the man I used to be." That sentence hit me like a weight, because I've heard versions of it from men all across this country. Men who built families, careers, and legacies, and now find themselves feeling small, powerless, embarrassed by their own bodies. You see, prostate problems don't just take your sleep, they take your pride. We rarely talk about that part. Doctors talk about flow rates and hormone levels, but no one talks about what it feels like to lose your dignity, to need the bathroom 5 times during a family dinner, or to avoid touch because you're afraid you won't perform. That's the wound most men never mention. It's invisible, but it runs deep. Frank looked at me and said, "I used to be the one who fixed everything around the house. Now I feel like I'm the one that's broken." And I told him what I'll tell you: you are not broken. You are simply being called to rebuild yourself differently this time. When he started the walking and stretching routine, he didn't expect much. But 2 weeks later, he came back smiling, saying, "I slept through the night for the first time in years." His wife came to his next appointment and hugged me. "He laughs again," she said. "He dances in the kitchen." That's when I realized this isn't just medicine, it's restoration, not of glands or tissue, but of identity, of love, because when a man starts to heal, his entire household feels it. The tension fades. The silence at dinner turns back into conversation. The embarrassment turns into intimacy again. That's what no prescription can give you, the ripple effect of a man rediscovering himself. And to every man listening, I want you to know this: your struggle doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. It means your body is asking you to care for it, not surrender to it. I've seen men go from shame to strength, from exhaustion to joy, simply by taking ownership of their healing. There's something sacred about watching a man reclaim his confidence, his humor, his spark. It's not about pretending you're 20 again, it's about feeling alive at 70. When you wake up and realize you slept through the night, when you can sit through your grandson's baseball game without scanning for the nearest restroom, when you reach for your wife's hand without fear, that's not just progress. That's redemption. And I'll be honest with you, it starts with something as small as lacing up your shoes and walking. That's the doorway back to yourself. But before we go further, I want to take a pause in this journey. Because over the past few months, many of you have written to me, some with heartfelt gratitude, others with sharp skepticism, and a few with questions so blunt they made me laugh out loud. In the next part, I'm going to open those letters. We'll read some of your comments, both the praise and the pushback, and I'll answer them right here the way a doctor should, with honesty, humor, and respect. Because this podcast isn't a lecture, it's a conversation. Every week, I read your comments and messages, hundreds of them. Some of you write with gratitude, others with humor, and a few of you, well, let's just say you don't hold back. And that's exactly how I like it, because real healing doesn't happen in silence. It happens through dialogue, through challenging ideas, through men talking honestly about what's happening in their lives. So today, let's open the mailbag. The first letter comes from Tom, 67, in Ohio. He writes, "Dr. Prescott, this all sounds too simple. You're telling me walking and stretching can do what pills can't. Sounds like wishful thinking." Tom, I hear you. If I hadn't seen it myself 100 times, I might doubt it too. But here's the truth: your body isn't mechanical, it's biological. Pills command, habits cooperate. Movement doesn't fight the body, it teaches it how to heal. You can't buy balance in a bottle. You have to earn it one step at a time. And next message, Earl, 72, from Arizona. He says, "Doc, I started your walking routine. Day 3, my knees hurt, but by day 7, I slept through the night. My wife says I snore again, and that's a good sign." Earl, that's music to my ears and probably to hers too. A snore means your body finally got the rest it's been begging for. Keep moving, keep breathing, and those knees will adapt faster than you think. The body's just like an old engine, it needs to warm up before it purrs. Now here's a fun one from Richard, 64, from Florida. He writes, "So Doc, what are you selling? Walks? Maybe I should invoice you for all the miles I'm logging." Richard, if you send me that invoice, I'll frame it. Because those miles you're walking aren't paying me, they're paying you. Every step is an investment in freedom. You don't owe me a thing, but you owe your body a second chance. Another note from Daniel, 70, in Wisconsin. "I've been on meds for 8 years. They help, but they've killed my energy. If I quit and do what you say, will I be okay?" Daniel, I'd never tell a man to stop medication cold turkey, but I will tell you this: start the habit anyway. Let your doctor monitor your progress. As your body heals, your need for the medication may naturally shrink. Healing isn't rebellion, it's partnership. And finally, a short note from Jeff. 75 in Oregon. Doc, I don't comment much, but your videos make me feel less alone. And Jeff, that right there, that's why I keep doing this. Because you're not alone, none of you are. Whether you're in a small town in Iowa or a big city in Texas, millions of men are walking this same path, quietly, bravely, and finally together. So to everyone listening, keep writing, keep questioning, keep sharing. This channel isn't about blind belief, it's about discovery. And if you've felt even a small spark of hope today, leave a comment below. Tell me, have you tried the daily habit yet? Type yes if you're starting, or soon if you're still thinking about it. Because in the next part, I'm going to pull back the curtain on something the medical industry rarely admits. The truth about why you were never told about this in the first place. After so many years in medicine, I've realized something that doesn't sit well with everyone, especially not with those who profit from your illness. What hurts men the most isn't just the condition they are living with, it's the silence surrounding the truth that could actually help them heal. Let me say this as plainly as I can. The reason most men never hear about simple, natural solutions like walking, stretching, and pelvic exercises is because no one makes money when you heal yourself. Pharmaceutical companies earn billions selling pills that you have to take for life. Surgeries and procedures bring in even more, and while some of those interventions save lives, many are just maintenance programs disguised as treatment. The truth is, the system isn't designed to cure you, it's designed to keep you dependent. I've had men lean in across my desk and whisper, "Dr. Prescott, if this really works, why hasn't anyone told me before?" And I always give them the same answer: because there's no profit in it. No one's running TV ads telling you to walk 30 minutes a day. No one's buying billboard space to remind you that your blood flow can be your medicine. There's no billion-dollar industry behind your daily habit, just biology, consistency, and truth. And yet, I've seen with my own eyes how powerful that truth can be. I've watched men who felt broken physically, emotionally, even spiritually, come back after just a few weeks of daily movement and say, "I feel like myself again." That kind of transformation is real. It's not flashy. It doesn't have side effects. It doesn't require a doctor's signature. It just requires a man's decision to start. What frustrates me most is how the modern health system has conditioned men to believe they are powerless. You're told your body can't heal without chemicals. You're told aging automatically means decline. You're told that pain, pills, and procedures are your only companions from here on out. But I've spent 3 decades proving that narrative wrong. Because when you restore circulation, reduce inflammation, and support hormonal balance naturally, the body responds. The swelling goes down. The nights get quieter. The man you thought you'd lost starts showing up again, calmer, stronger, more alive. Let me be clear, I'm not anti-medicine, I'm anti-hopelessness. Medication has its place, but it should never replace the truth that your body still knows how to repair itself. It's been waiting for you to move again, to breathe deeply, to live with intention. Think about this. If every man over 60 started walking 30 minutes a day, stretching for 5, and strengthening his pelvic floor, the number of prostate procedures would plummet. The medication market would collapse. That's not conspiracy, that's arithmetic. So yes, this truth stays quiet, not because it's unproven, but because it's unprofitable. And that's exactly why I'm here speaking it out loud. Because you deserve more than symptom management. You deserve restoration. Imagine this for a moment. You wake up at 6 a.m. without pain, you sip your coffee without planning your morning around a restroom, you spend the day energized, calm, focused. You fall asleep without interruption. That's not fantasy, it's physiology. The only question is whether you'll start. Because knowing the truth means nothing if you don't act on it. Knowledge heals no one, habit does. And in the next part, I want to bring everything home. I want to remind you what this journey is really about, not just shrinking a gland, but reclaiming your freedom, your peace, and your pride as a man. Gentlemen, the final part of this series isn't medical, it's personal. Gentlemen, we've walked a long road together in this episode, from sleepless nights and frustration to science to truth and finally to hope. And if you take only one thing from all of this, let it be this: you are not broken. Your prostate doesn't define you, your courage does. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s step back into life with a fire that medicine couldn't bottle. They started small, just a few minutes of walking, a stretch here and there, and within days their energy began to change. Within weeks, they were sleeping better, smiling wider, standing taller. Because healing, real healing, isn't about a single act. It's about motion, momentum, and mindset. I want you to believe this: your best years aren't behind you. They're waiting right in front of you, asking for one small choice to begin. Start walking tomorrow morning. Stretch your hips. Breathe deeply. Feel the ground beneath your feet and remember, you're still here, still capable, still strong. That first step is more than exercise, it's defiance. It's you telling the world, I'm not done yet. And as you take that step, do me one favor. Press that like button right now, not for me, for yourself. Because when you do, I want to believe something for you. May your nights grow quiet again. May your mornings come with strength and calm. And may your life, no matter your age, still feel like yours. If this message has spoken to you, leave a comment below. Tell me where you're starting from. I read every one of them because this isn't just a podcast, it's a brotherhood of men determined to reclaim what's theirs. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on that bell. Every week, we'll walk through another piece of the puzzle: real science, real healing, real men rebuilding themselves from the inside out. You've got this, because your story isn't over. It's just waking up.